हर प्राणी में साई, हर प्राणी में बाबा, सब प्रेम करो, सब प्रेम करो, मेरा साई प्रसन्न होगा, मेरा साई प्रसन्न होगा, मेरा साई प्रसन्न होगा। दिन दुखियों से प्रेम करो, मेरा साई प्रसन्न होगा, साई मेरा मैं तेरा, ये प्रेम की बहती धारा, ये प्रेम की बहती धारा, मेरा साई प्रसन्न होगा। Most beloved Bhagawan, my humble pranams at your lovely lotus feet. Respected elders, dear sisters and brothers, loving Sairams to all of you. I like to start by calling Swami's lotus feet as lovely lotus feet, because you can put any wonderful adjective to those lotus feet and they will fit. And anybody who has touched those soft, lovely feet will know what it is to feel bliss, truly. This bhajan goes on to say, Din dukhiyon se prem karo. No, we normally translate this to be love, give your love to those who are poor, those who are distress stricken. Now, these are the words that come to us. We have a very interesting take on this. Who in this world is not Dina or Dukhi? So when Swami says that we have to love all and serve all, and as this bhajan says, Dina Dukhiyon se prem karo, it basically means the same thing. All of us have some or the other desire in life. Everybody who has got a job wants a promotion, wants something more in life. Everybody who has a family wants something more for their family. Even a spiritual aspirant wants something more from God. So everybody who has a desire obviously is lacking in something. So anybody who is lacking in something is poor in that sense. When we say Din dukhiyon se prem karo, mera sai prasanna hoga, it truly translates to love all and serve all. Swami says that this love that we are talking about, this divine love that we are talking about, is something that we have to share it with everybody. And our Lord is so very kind, so very affectionate to us, all of us who like to call ourselves His devotees. I'll come to that a little later, why I say we who call themselves as His devotees. He's so kind that He says, this love of mine, you give it to 2 or 3 people every day and see what change that brings to your life. Swami was talking to the boys in the hostel once in one of his discourses, and this is what he said. Every day go out and give this love of mine to 2 or 3 people, and that is enough to make a change in your life. From love all, serve all, this is how Swami breaks it down to what we can do in our daily lives. So every day in Prasanthi Nilayam, we have got to see Swami's love for everybody. Ask the students who have been here. It's not just that they have got free education in this university. The kind of education, the kind of love that they have got from Swami and from Swami's beloved teachers. Ask every student who's been here. Ask every devotee who has sat in the sands of Prasanthi Nilayam and, has tasted this love of Swami. Ask every single patient who enters the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Medical Sciences or the general hospitals at Prasanthi Nilayam or at Whitefield. Every unique story, every day that we see these wonderful stories of Swami's love being given to patients, I can just recount to you quickly. There was once in the radiology department in the CT scanner, we did a CT scan on a very old man. He was past 80 and he was suffering from bladder cancer. And we did the CT scan on him. And as I was helping him get off the patient couch, this old man bent down to touch my feet. And I held his hand and I said, Tata, grandfather, what are you doing? Don't do this. Everything is given by Swami. All this. He was so overwhelmed. He was in tears. And he said, no, it is just the love that I feel from all of you over here that makes me want to touch your feet. And I was truly overwhelmed at this. And I was telling Swami, firstly, you give us an opportunity to participate in this mission of yours that is filled with love for those who are downtrodden. And on top of that, we get the blessings of those who receive your love. Isn't that truly this double promotion? Swami has told the Bhajan boys that if you truly give the devotees what you're supposed to give them through your bhajans, you will get a double promotion, which is you yourself get the bliss from bhajans and you can pass on this bliss to others. So this double promotion is possible for all of us to get through any kind of sadhana that we do. As I just said, through this incident of a small act of service that you can do, that which Swami himself is giving, we get a chance to be a small little part in that and we get overloaded with his love, as it were. So this is the divine love of Swami which pervades his universe. I was listening to a discourse of Swami where Swami says that every person has 4 objectives in life. That is the 4 Purusharthas. And Swami went on to say, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. These are the 4 Purusharthas or human objectives that everyone talks about. And Swami so beautifully adds a 5th dimension to our objectives in life. Swami went on to say, he was talking to the students, and he said, the 5th objective in life is to have perfect love. This is how Swami defined perfect love as saying it is the 5th objective for all of us to get in life. And what example did he go on to give after that was our own beloved Lord Hanuman. He said after the war, when Rama came back to Ayodhya and the whole victorious army and the army of Vanaras came back to Ayodhya, Rama was distributing gifts to all those who had helped Lord Rama in the war. Lord Rama asked Lord Hanuman, what can I give you, Hanuman? And then Lord Hanuman said, I don't want anything, Lord Rama. I just want your love. And then Mother Sita at that point said, Hanuman, that is all right, but since we are giving gifts to everybody, we must give you also a gift. And so she removes her pearl necklace and gives it to Hanuman. And Swami goes on to narrate beautifully how Hanuman took out each pearl from the necklace and then bit it and then put it to his ear. And everybody in the darbar was shocked. And Mother asked Lord Hanuman, what are you doing, Hanuman? He said, for me, anything in this life that does not resonate with Lord Rama's name, I don't feel close to it. And that is why I was discarding each of these pearls. So someone challenges Lord Hanuman and says, oh, is that so that every part of your body resonates with Lord Rama's name? And we all know the story where, he opens his chest and people see Lord Rama. And Swami, so beautifully, he being Lord Rama, the most authentic stories we can hear from him. So he goes on to say that he plucked out a hair from his body and then people were able to hear Lord Rama's name resonating even in that. Swami says this was the perfect love that Lord Hanuman had for his Lord Rama. And then Lord Rama is so overwhelmed with this, display of pure and perfect love that he tells Lord Hanuman that, Hanuman, I can only give you one thing as a gift. I can give you myself. And then Lord Rama goes and hugs Hanuman. So we see that when we have perfect love for the Lord gives himself up to us. And we don't have to look for trinkets that we get from this world. And this is the kind of love that Swami wants all of us to develop. There is another small incident surrounding one of my juniors in college. He had the so-called guts to go to Swami and directly tell Swami, Swami, for some reason, my faith in you is reducing. And, most of us can't even think of saying such a thing, even in front of Swami's photo probably. But he had the guts, I can't call it anything else, to go and tell Swami that. Swami did not flinch. You know what Swami asked him? Do you have love for me in your heart? He said, absolutely, Swami. And Swami said, keep that love. Faith will grow automatically. This is the lesson to learn, brothers and sisters, that if we have total and perfect love for the Lord at all times, faith in Him will develop and the Lord will definitely give Himself up to us. At this point, I would like to sing a few lines of another bhajan that reflects Hanuman's devotion for the Lord. हर धड़कन में साई समा है, ईश्वर प्रेम है, प्रेम ईश्वर है, ईश्वर प्रेम है, हर धड़कन में साई समा है, ईश्वर प्रेम है. Swami loves this bhajan a lot, and he would ask us, the bhajan boys, to sing Prem Ishwar Hai specifically many times, because this sums up what Swami talks about love. And when he says that God is love, love is God, har dhadkan mein, that is what Hanuman showed to the world, that his heart definitely beat for Lord Rama, and every cell of his body resonated with Lord Rama's name. Swami once told again the students in a discourse that lilies are ornaments for a pond, houses are ornaments for a village, the moon is an ornament for the sky, waves are ornaments for the ocean, and for Sai devotees, love is the ornament. I think Swami could not have said anything more than this as to what we should adorn ourselves with if we are to start calling ourselves his devotee. He said, to be a Sai devotee, your ornament is love. And we know what the kind of love that Swami is asking us to develop is universal love. So love is the first prerequisite to have a pure heart. So why am I talking about a pure heart? We tend to give a lot of examples from what Swami has told the bhajan boys, because we have had the blessing to be a part of the bhajan group for some time. So once Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma, the great Santur maestro, had come to Mandir, and Swami was talking to him, and he asked him, how many hours of practice do you professional musicians do? And Panditji told Swami 6 hours, sometimes 8 hours, maybe sometimes even more than that. Swami said, oh, that's a lot of time. How do my boys sing bhajans? How are my bhajan sessions? He said, Swami, it is very nice. And he said, but how are my boys able to sing so well? They don't have time of 6 to 8 hours to practice like you all do. They have to get up from early morning, Suprabhatam onwards. They have to go play games. They have yogasanas, and they have to rush to college, and they have to come here for darshan. After bhajan, they have to go back, and then there are study hours. There is no time. Whatever time they get in between, they practice. Still, how are they able to sing so well? So Panditji said, Swami, they are your children. After all, they are blessed. They are your children. So obviously they will sing well. Swami, he has a way of putting that down. He said, wo theek hai, that is all right. But they sing well because of two reasons. Swami said, they sing well because they are pure at heart and because they sing for me. These are the 2 points that Swami made, which he said is why the bhajans sound good. We know it is purely Swami's blessings, and many times when Swami says such things about the boys, he makes sure that these lessons reach us, because from here we get to know that this is what Swami expects us to be. So when Swami calls one of the boys who acted in a drama and said, you are Ramadasa, or he called somebody else a fakir, or he tells that my boys are pure at heart, we get to know that this is what Swami expects us to be. So when Swami said that we have to sing bhajans with a pure heart and for Swami, these are huge lessons for us. Not just in the bhajan group. When what I say applies for the bhajan group, definitely applies for us in the rest of our life, because we are part of a bhajan group maybe for, if it's here for 1 hour a day, 1.5 hours a day, what about the rest of the hours? And for those who are in bhajan sessions for, once or twice a week, what about the rest of the week? So all the lessons that Swami teaches us has to be a part of our lives throughout our lives, throughout the rest of the hours and rest of the days of the week. So Swami says we must have a pure heart. When Swami says that we have a pure heart and we sing for Swami, what are the components of a pure heart? See, Swami has laid out so many things which makes a person pure at heart. If we were to, crystallize some of that, we'll see that Swami most often talks about 2 things. Definitely love is what Swami talks about the most. And the next point I will come to a little later is something that Swami wants us to develop in every aspect of our lives, is to develop humility. Just to know that the Lord is the Lord and we are but His servants. So, talking about divine love, Swami says this love, this bliss of love that is there in our hearts is deep within us, definitely. When we are born, we are divine beings that are born taking human forms. And he says all this love is lost within us. And Swami told us what you must do to bring that out. If you have water down deep under the earth, what will you do? And someone said, Swami, you have to dig a borewell. He said, yes. Use the borewell of Namasmarana to bring out this love from deep within your heart. The bliss of love that is hidden deep down in your heart. Bring that out. Let it gush forth through Namasmarana. So, that is why I was just saying that a lot of examples that I would give are surrounding the bhajan group and what Swami taught us, but we have to take that for the rest of our lives as well. So at this point, I'm again reminded of a bhajan that we sing often, and I have very fond memories of this bhajan because this bhajan is something that tuned the hearts of 400 young students in the hostel to their Mother Sai. This was a very difficult time when Mother Sai was not talking to the boys. It was the biggest punishment in one sort that the students can get when their mother is not speaking to them. And this went on for a week and 10 days, and everybody was praying from the depth of their heart. So it was like everybody's borewell was functioning at maximum limit and the love for Swami was pouring out. And one evening when all the 400 young students were sitting in the mandir, and Swami was again avoiding them and went and sat on the throne in the bhajan hall. We all heard this bhajan being sung, and I will tell you what happened later on. But this was the bhajan. Sai prem de, shanti de, आनंद दे बाबा प्रेम दे, तुम हो बाबा दया के सागर, तुम हो गुण मंदिर नटनागर, आदि अनंत है सत्य सनातन, अलख निरंजन साई जनार्दन, सच्चिदानंद प्रभु कृपा करो प्रेम दे, शांति दे आनंद दे बाबा प्रेम दे. So when we pray to Swami from the depth of our hearts and we tell Swami, Swami, give me this love that you want us to develop. Swami, help us to, dig this borewell deep so that our love gushes forth. This is precisely what happened that fine evening in the mandir when this brother started singing, Sai Prem De. And that was enough. And the hearts of all the students welled over and they burst out as tears. And our loving Lord Mother Sai could not contain herself. Mother Sai got up from the throne, rushed out and asked all his children, come to me. And all of us went and surrounded Swami and we were telling, Swami, forgive us. And Swami said, no, why? Everything is fine. You're my children. Everything is fine. And that was such a wonderful, children and mother scene, which will never go from my heart. And this bhajan is what had brought forth that love from all of us to Swami. And while Swami talks about divine love, there are a few examples that he teaches all of us. So when we were putting up this drama of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Swami would come and Swami would teach us how to act. Swami would tell us how to sing the songs. He would tell us how to emote our dialogues. He would not stop with that. That is how much probably a basic director of a drama would do. Swami would sit among us and tell us what Lord Hari meant to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wanted us to imbibe what he felt so that once you go on stage, you are not merely acting. You would have imbibed at least some part of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's love for Lord Krishna. So Swami used to tell us, some of us were a little apprehensive because, we had not danced in front of Swami. We had not, acted as a singer saint in front of Swami. And Swami, assuaged all those fears of ours, telling such wonderful, lovely stories of ours and making us so comfortable with the role and giving us the inner meaning of what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu really meant and what Hari meant to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Swami said Chaitanya would go on the streets and he would be singing, he would have his cymbals and he would initially have his dholak. He would be playing that and singing Hari's name. And there were these jealous villagers who would be around. They would not hesitate to go and snatch away the dholak and ridicule Chaitanya. But Chaitanya would not stop. Swami said he would bring out his cymbals and he would play the cymbals and, sing Hari's name. And they would come and snatch that also. And he would tell, Hari, they can take away everything. They cannot take away my voice. Even if they can take away my voice, Hari, they cannot take away my love for you. So that is what Swami wants. Eventually, Swami wants that all these external things, including the voice, are mere external connections to Swami. But what Swami wants is the transformation of the heart. He wants the purity of heart from where love goes directly to him. At this point, I would sing another song. हम सदा तेरे साथ रहेंगे, प्यार की नगरी में सदा, प्यार की नगरी में सदा। हम तेरे हैं साईं, हम तेरे हैं। दिल की आवाज़ है, होठों पे बस यही राग है। हम तेरे हैं साईं, हम तेरे हैं। If you are able to tell Swami from the depths of our hearts that Swami, you are ours, we are yours. साई मेरा मैं तेरा, ये प्रेम की बहती धारा, as दीन दुखियों, even as that bhajan says and as this song says, that we love you, Swami, by loving everybody, and you are ours, and Swami, we are yours. So this is the kind of love that Swami wants us to develop. And what is the second aspect that Swami spoke about when he told Pandit Ji that my boys have purity of heart. So in purity of heart you have love, divine love for Swami, and we have humility. Swami, he would correct all of us, and there are times when all of us, in the bhajan group have been warned by Swami. He has made us, he has cautioned us. He has told us what is wrong with the way we are behaving. Because if you look at it, physically we would just go and sit in front of him for half an hour in a day during the bhajans, during which he would see. And of course, the interactions during music programs and the interviews. But most of the physical time, we were in the hostel. But Swami would come, he would pick us up, sometimes even during bhajan, and he would tell us something like, Niku Kovura. It loosely translates into something like arrogance. So, and then we have to be on our guard. Because the moment any of us, for any kind of talent that we have, talent is not just described as somebody who can sing well, not somebody who can act well. It is not just the fine arts. Talent is anything that we can do well in life. That is God given to us. And in any sphere of life, if we think that, it is me, I am the doer, and if we ignore the fact that Swami is the doer and He is the one really controlling us, then this Niku Kovura, I think that applies to all of us who get into that kind of thinking. He was speaking to the students again once, and Swami said this, and I will quote the translation. He says, Bhajans must be a felt experience. He says, do not sing with one eye that the effect of the song has on others, and another eye on the effect that it has on God. Bhajans have to be sung and offered to God in an attitude of humility and not an exhibition of talent or for competition to display musical skills. And then this last sentence that Swami told is so beautiful. He said, your singing has to please God and not your fans. Swami used this word in the discourse, and as much as we can laugh about it, I think this is so true for any of us in any sphere of life, saying that, we do something well, we expect that from somewhere, we get a little pat on our back. It is said that, God has made us in such a way that we can neither pat our backs nor, hit ourselves on our back very easily. It's very difficult to reach our back. So It only means that, we cannot do it. You're not supposed to either ridicule yourself easily or praise yourself easily, which means do not pump up your head. And the real reason you are offering anything to Swami is to please him. I think that we should never lose focus of, that we are not here to please, as Swami says, fans. Swami used the word while talking to the students. This is way back in the 1980s. And Swami so beautifully went on to say, this ego, we normally think that ego is a feeling of superiority. Swami says, even if you think you're inferior to somebody, that is also a form of ego. And Swami went on to illustrate this with such a beautiful example. Swami said, see, once Lord Krishna had a headache, so obviously Lord Krishna had a pretense of a headache. So he had headache, and which was apparently not getting cured with anything. So he told his courtiers, who said, Lord Krishna, we have to find a cure. We'll get the best physicians to the court. And Lord Krishna said, no. So I need the dust from the feet of my devotees. If I apply that on my head, it'll cure me of my headache. And the courtiers were aghast, and the physicians, they said, how can this be done? Lord Krishna said, no, you must do this. My queens are great devotees, and then there are other devotees, go and find out. So these courtiers thought, okay, let us go and ask. So they first went to the queens, and they said, we need dust from your feet. We have to apply it on Krishna's head, and that is the only way he's going to get cured. And the queens were taken aback. They said, dust from our feet for our Lord Krishna. No, we cannot do that. We cannot, definitely not, we cannot. So after asking a few of them, these courtiers go and meet some of the gopikas. And Swami says, the moment the gopikas heard that Lord Krishna needs dust from your feet to be applied on his head to cure him of his headache, the gopikas did not hesitate for a second. And they said, dust from our feet, which will cure him of his headache? Definitely take. How much dust do you need? Please take dust from all our feet and take it to Lord Krishna. So they got the dust from the feet and they came to Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna told them, I don't need. He was obviously fine by then. And he said, see, this is a lesson to teach you all that true devotion, when you feel that you and my Lord are not different, that is where you don't have any ego. Swami went on to say that the queens felt that they were inferior, but the gopikas, then their love for Lord Krishna was so much that they did not feel any difference between them and Lord Krishna. And they said, he needs dust from our feet? Okay, anything that can cure our Lord Krishna of his headache. This is the beautiful love gopikas had. And Swami said, that is also the kind of ego that you're supposed to avoid when you're trying to love Lord. And then Swami went on to give another beautiful story. This time we were lucky to be part of a drama of Radha Bhakti for Swami's 60th birthday, and later on for Krishna Leelalu, which was also a dance drama. During those times, like I said, for Chaitanya drama also, Swami would sit around and he would talk to all of us about the devotion of the Gopikas and Radha, who was the primary character of the drama. And then Swami told this wonderful story. He said, Mother Yashoda came to Radha one day and said, my Kanha is missing. My Krishna is missing. I have searched for him everywhere. I am not able to find him. Is there somewhere, some way you can help me find my Kanha? And then Swami said that Radha closed her eyes, deeply felt Lord Krishna and prayed to him. And after a little while, Lord Krishna appeared there. And Mother Yashoda was so happy and she hugged Lord Krishna and said, I know, I thought you were missing. And Radha prayed and you are here, you appeared here. And then Mother Yashoda goes on to tell Radha that, Radha, you are truly the greatest devotee of Krishna. I had this ego within me thinking that being the mother of Lord Krishna, nobody else can love Krishna more than me. But today you have showed me what true love for Krishna is. And that is how you were able to manifest Krishna when I searched all the world for him. And then Mother Yashoda goes on to ask Krishna, and she literally complains to Krishna, saying that, I make such wonderful food for you at home. I make the most fresh butter for you at home, but you don't eat anything in my house. But you take it upon yourself to go to all these Gopikas' house. You go to Radha's house. You steal butter from there and eat. Why do you do this, Krishna? And then Krishna tells this, Swami explains this beautifully and said that little Kanha explains to Mother Yashoda that it is because Radha and the Gopikas do not have ego and they have pure love for me.